November. The Green Grub. November had arrived, the last month of autumn. The Green Grub decided to ask Dolly if he could spend the winter at her house. He knocked quietly on her door, but no one appeared. He knocked again. The ladybird girl eventually heard him and looked out. "Hi, Grub." "Hello, Dolly." "I was wondering," he began, but Dolly interrupted him. "I'm sorry, Grub, but I'm in a hurry. The great lightning beetle is coming to visit us soon, and we want to hold a concert in his honour. You can tell me when I come back, okay?" "Okay," the grub reluctantly agreed. He came back again the next day, but the ladybird girl still did not have time for him. She was practicing pretty music with Stanley and Alfonzo. "Come in, Grub, we can talk after the rehearsal," Dolly offered. The grub listened to the music for a little while, but it was too loud for him, so he left. He came again the next day, but the ladybird girl was not at home. He found a large leaf outside her house, and so he decided to lie on the leaf while he waited for her. He soon fell fast asleep and did not notice when the wind blew the leaf away. When he woke up, he was on the beach and a very long way from home. Dolly and her friends continued to practice on their instruments. By the time the great lightning beetle arrived, they were really ready and gave a perfect performance in honour of their friend in the Forest Concert Hall. Berry played the trumpet, Morris the horn, Frank the saxophone, Flutter the lyre, Bubble the triangle, Balthazar the zither, Rosita the xylophone, Eddie the cello, Stanley the double bass, Dolly the harp, Alfonzo the violin. The ants played the flutes, Zephyr and Leapy the cymbals, Charlie the accordion, and the spider played the drums. The ladybird girl only remembered the grub when the special guest left. "Where could the grub be? It's all my fault if something bad has happened to him. I didn't notice him go. I should have listened to him." Dolly was very upset indeed. The wind saw her crying. "I should never have blown the leaf so far away," he thought to himself, and then he blew through the whole sky searching for the green grub. He finally found him curled up on a seashell, so then he scooped up the shell with the grub and blew it hard and fast back to the familiar forest. The ladybird girl was strolling sadly when she caught sight of her little friend. She ran over and hugged him at once. "I'm so pleased that you've come back and that you're okay. I've looked for you all over the place," Dolly stuttered. "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. Now you can tell me what you wanted to say." "The winter's on its way, and I'd like to come and stay with you away from the cold." "Of course you can. This box will make a perfect bed. I'll put a soft pillow in it and a tiny blanket. You'll feel very comfortable, I promise." September. Reggie Squirrel. Autumn had arrived, and it was Reggie Squirrel's 7th birthday. Reggie woke up early and set off excitedly to visit the stag beetle. He knocked loudly on Stanley's door, but no one answered. Berry and Balthazar's houses were empty too. No one's at home. Who can I celebrate my birthday with? He sobbed to himself. Hi there, happy birthday, shouted Harry Hedgehog. Your friends told me to take you for a ride while they prepare your present. So that's why no one's at home, Reggie said, smiling again. He sat in the hedgehog cart and they set off. In the meantime, the centipede busily raked the leaves up and the woodworms wriggled about in them. That's enough of that. I need to clear the leaves from the path, the centipede said. You could pick the litter up because we should look after nature. Okay, we'll help, the woodworms whistled. Then they saw Harry Hedgehog and Reggie Squirrel, and they waved at the birthday boy when the hedgehog cart passed them. It was the afternoon by the time they got back to Reggie Squirrel's home. Happy birthday! All the forest friends shouted with glee. Reggie Squirrel saw that the pals had bandaged the oak tree. You've made my tree better, Reggie said with a tear in his eye. Hooray for Reggie Squirrel! Shouted a band of squeaky little voices, and the fireflies appeared high up above. We've made you 7 lanterns for your 7th birthday. They're beautiful, said Reggie, clapping his paws together. At that point, Berry and Dolly handed the hazelnut cake they had made to Reggie. And while they were eating, Zephyr made an announcement. A 7th birthday is an important thing because 7 is a special number. There are 7 colours in the rainbow. A dragon has 7 heads, and there are 7 days in a week. There are 7 dwarfs in the story about Snow White, and there are 7 notes on a musical scale. You still haven't seen your main present, said the little flower beetle as he hopped around. Have you found the hot air balloon? Reggie asked with a surprised smile. We found it and fixed it, said a proud Berry. Come on, we'll take you for a flight. Hooray! Reggie Squirrel cried, and he hopped happily into the balloon's basket. They flew high above the tiny houses and had a super view of the forest from the sky. Then the stars appeared, and Reggie stared in delight at the twinkling night sky. It's been a busy day, hasn't it? Asked Dolly. Yes, it's been a busy and brilliant birthday, Reggie Squirrel agreed with a grin. Good night, the little friends shouted, and the squirrel climbed sleepily back into his house, cuddled up in his little bed, and soon fell fast asleep.
The Robot. One autumn morning, Frank the longhorn beetle visited his old friend Stanley. The stag beetle was really pleased to see his faraway friend. "I've brought you something," Frank said secretively, and put a little box into Stanley's hand. The stag beetle opened the package with excitement. It was a silver-coloured robot. "I built it for you. It can walk, make funny noises, and has flashing lights." Stanley was delighted with the present. "Thank you, Frank. I'll take special care of it." The longhorn beetle stayed with the stag beetle for 3 days. They talked a lot, played football, ate nice food, and went for long walks together. At the end of the 3rd day, Frank said goodbye to Stanley and went on his way. The stag beetle suddenly felt lonely. But he wasn't alone for long because Berry the snail boy soon knocked on the door. Hi, Stanley. Do you want to play button football? Of course. We can go in a minute, but let me show you something first, Stanley said. Then he stood on a chair and took the robot down from a bookshelf. But the chair wobbled underneath him and the little figure slipped out of his hand and fell into a million pieces. Oh, my robot! My robot's broken, Stanley cried. Let's try and put it back together again, Berry suggested. OK. Stanley sulked. The 2 boys struggled for a long time, but there was no way they could put all the pieces back together again. Let's call Eddie. He can fix anything, Berry suggested, and the 2 friends hurried off. They even forgot to close the door. They soon arrived at Eddie's house. Hi, Eddie. Please help. Frank gave me a robot, but I dropped it and it fell to pieces. I'm sure you can put it together again, the stag beetle pleaded. I'm sorry, but I'm too busy at the minute. I promised Leapy that I would mend her bicycle. But I'll go over to your house and help tomorrow, OK? The potato beetle said. Only tomorrow? OK then, come over tomorrow, the stag beetle snivelled. Berry and Stanley said a sad goodbye to the potato beetle and set off home again. While they were away, Berry the baby beetle was walking past Stanley's house. He was surprised to see the door wide open and walked in. He noticed the broken robot on the floor, and so he sat down and started to patiently put it all back together again. The stag beetle stepped sadly back into his house. But when he saw the robot, his bad mood evaporated. The robot was walking again, beeping and flashing its lights as if nothing had happened. Hi, Bubble. How did you end up here? And what happened to my broken robot? I was walking past and came in because the door was open. I saw the pieces of the robot on the floor and fixed it, the baby beetle answered proudly. Stanley was so delighted that he picked Bubble up and threw him into the air 3 times. Hooray! You're very clever, Bubble. Thank you. The next day, Stanley invited Dolly over to show her the robot. Soon, Eddie appeared as he had promised. But he did not need to fix it because now it was better than new. Stanley didn't put the robot back on the shelf after that, so it couldn't fall off again. Instead, he placed it carefully on a little cupboard next to his bed. The Windmill. One summer day, Berry and Dolly were playing badminton by the windmill. All of a sudden, they heard the sound of sobbing. It's coming from the windmill, the snail boy said. They set off in the direction of the sound and soon arrived at the windmill. There they found the mill beetle sitting sobbing on the ground. Why are you crying? They asked him. The storm damaged the mill sails. They're ruined and I can't mend them, the mill beetle complained. Let's call the others here. Stanley's got a saw, Balthazar's got a hammer, and I'm sure we can all fix it together, Dolly proposed. All right, the mill beetle sniffed. The ladybird girl flew off right away to tell her friends. Very soon, Stanley, Balthazar, Zephyr, Eddie, Bubble and Morris arrived. They all got hard to work fixing the broken sails. They worked hard for 2 long days and were eventually done by the end of the second day. Hooray! Just like new! The mill beetle cheered. I'll start the mill going again tomorrow, and I'll make flour and bake fresh bread for you all. But the next day did not begin well at all. The wind had no intention of blowing, and the sails of a windmill cannot go round without wind. The mill beetle started to cry again. All right, OK, please don't cry. We'll push it a little and maybe a breeze will blow up, Stanley suggested, and all the others agreed. 7 of them pushed the 6 sails. Stanley, Balthazar, Bubble, Berry, Eddie, Zephyr and Morris. They pushed it around and around, but they soon got tired. There's never going to be any bread, the mill beetle moaned. I'll go and tell the wind to blow, Zephyr announced as she flew high up into the sky. She spoke politely to the wind. Dear wind, please blow for us a bit, because the windmill sails won't go round and it's making the mill beetle cry. This surprised the wind, and he muttered something to himself before flying lazily downwards. He took a deep breath and began to blow the windmill's sails. The mill started to move and work once more. The mill beetle filled the hopper, and the millstones ground the wheat into the finest flour. The white flour began to form an impressive heap. The windmill sails went around and around and did not stop until the grasshopper girl signalled to the wind. Thank you, that was just enough, she said with a grateful smile, and the wind flew back up into the sky. When the flour was ready, the mill beetle began to prepare the bread dough. He put the loaf into the oven and waited patiently for it to bake. When it was golden brown all over, he took it out and cut it into thick slices. They spread the bread with butter and jam and feasted until every last crumb had been gobbled up. The Scooter. One spring morning, Morris the Maybug decided to make himself a scooter. He spent the whole day sawing, drilling and hammering, and when he was finished, he painted the scooter black. Then he hurried to show his super scooter to his friends. The boys were all playing basketball in the meadow. Berry, Stanley, Balthazar, Eddie, Bubble and Alfonso. Look at my new scooter. I made it all myself.
Can I have a try?
No one can borrow it. It's mine.
I only want to try it for a minute.
We'd like to have a go on it too, then we'll give it back. I'm not lending it to anyone, Morris told them again. The boys were so busy arguing that they didn't spot Eddie, who grabbed the scooter and rode off on it. Stop! Bring it back! It's my scooter and I didn't lend it to you. I'm not lending it to anyone. Eddie slowed down and Morris soon caught up with him. Give me my scooter back.
Here you are. It doesn't go fast enough anyway.
Not fast enough? Look at this. Not fast enough? You can hardly keep up with me, he shouted with a laugh, but he didn't see a big pothole in the middle of the road.
Watch out, Morris!
Balthazar, Berry and Stanley all shouted at once, but it was too late.
Well, you've only got yourself to blame, Morris, Balthazar said in a snooty tone.
What happened, Morris? Are you badly scratched? Why aren't you boys helping him? The rose beetle asked the others.
It's all Morris's fault.
It doesn't matter how it happened. He's really hurt himself and you should have helped. Come back to my house, Morris, and I'll clean those nasty scratches for you. Rosita sat Morris down and washed his wounds with a warm, wet cloth. It doesn't look that bad now. Morris started to sob. It was all my fault because I was mean to the others. If I hadn't been so mean, it wouldn't have happened. Then don't be mean next time. Thank you for all your help, Morris said as he left. It was nothing. You'll feel better soon. Morris limped all the way back to his house. The minute he got home, he jumped into bed and he was soon fast asleep. The little Maybug woke up the next morning with a wonderful idea. He got out his paints and brushes. I'm going to paint you pink. Look at you. I've brought this for you. Thank you for helping me yesterday. It looks lovely. Did you paint it? Rosita asked. Yes, I thought you wouldn't like it black. I love it. I'm going to ride it over to Dolly's house. Be careful. Have a safe ride. Morris walked home and he was about to eat his lunch when he heard a knock at the door.
Hello, Morris,
Balthazar said first.
we came to see if you were feeling better.
Much better, thank you, Morris shrugged. I promise that I won't take your scooter again, Eddie said with an apologetic smile. I haven't got it anymore. I painted it pink and gave it to Rosita. But I can make a new scooter, Morris said. I promised Rosita that I won't be mean again. Everyone can have a go on my new scooter when it's finished. Hooray! Bubble shouted. Now would you all like a piece of apple pie? I baked it myself. Morris soon finished the new scooter. He painted it dark green. All the friends gathered in the meadow the next day and took turns to have a go on the two scooters. Flutter goes skiing. On a winter day, Iris the ice beetle invited all her friends to go skiing. Has everyone got skis? She asked. I haven't, said Berry. And I haven't, Leapy the grasshopper girl joined in. Neither have I, Flutter the butterfly added. Then let's make some skis for you. It isn't hard, Iris said with a smile. The friends all joined in. They sawed and sanded thin planks of wood, fixed foot straps to them, and made poles for everyone. And the skis were finished by lunchtime. They all walked up the hill together. When they got to the top, they strapped on their skis and put on their ski helmets. Then Iris asked, Does everyone know how to ski? I can teach anyone who doesn't. They all nodded except for Flutter. The little butterfly girl didn't know how to ski, but she didn't say anything. It can't be all that hard. I'll soon get the hang of it, she thought to herself. She only dared whisper the truth to the green grub. Berry was the first to go. Whoopee! He shouted with a broad grin as he sped down the snowy hillside. Dolly came after Berry, and then Balthazar, and then the others. Flutter was the last one to set off. She took a deep breath and pushed herself off. The only problem was she didn't know how to stop. She carried on skiing over the next hill and then the hill after that until she had skied a very long way away from the others. The little butterfly girl only stopped when she fell over into a big pile of snow.
It was a while before the others realised that Flutter was missing.
Flutter doesn't know how to ski,
the green grub eventually told them. She can't ski, they all asked in surprise.
This was her first time. She was very nervous, but she didn't dare to mention it. Oh, I'm frightened that something terrible has happened to her.
The friends set off to search for Flutter. Dr. Owl was flying past and he spotted Flutter in the snow below.
Flutter, what happened to you?
He asked.
I couldn't stop and I fell over in the snow. I really hurt myself. I thought I'd never be able to stop. I don't want to ski again,
Flutter sobbed. Dr. Owl felt very sorry for the little butterfly girl, so he put her on his back and took her to his house.
I'll bandage you up and then I'll take you to Iris's house. I'm sure the others will be looking for you,
Dr. Owl said in a reassuring voice. The little friends frantically searched around, but they couldn't find Flutter anywhere. They walked sadly back to Iris's house. But Flutter was waiting for them when they arrived. They were overjoyed.
Hooray! Are you all right, Flutter? Tell us what happened to you,
Dolly told her. Flutter told them the whole story from beginning to end.
So you don't know how to ski?
Iris asked in surprise.
I'll teach you. You'll soon learn how to turn and stop, and you'll be able to ski down even the steepest hills. Thank you,
the butterfly girl said with a smile. Iris started to teach Flutter to ski the very next morning. By the end of the first day, the little butterfly girl could ski down small hills and stop safely at the bottom.
Look! Flutter can ski! This calls for a celebration,
Stanley shouted, and he started to play a tune on the icicles. The others sang and danced around the happy little butterfly. Sunflowers. Berry and Dolly planted sunflower seeds in the spring and watered the seeds until little shoots soon appeared. The shoots grew into little plants that grew into big plants. Then buds appeared that opened into lovely yellow flowers in the summer.
Hooray!
The friends cheered when they saw the lovely flowers. Berry noticed that the flowers pointed one way in the morning and another in the afternoon.
Look, Dolly, they're turning their heads.
That's because they always turn to face the sun. That's why they're called sunflowers.
When the sun went down, the sunflowers hung their heads and went to sleep. All the forest friends were woken the next morning by shouts of panic.
Oh dear, what's happened? Our lovely sunflowers,
Dolly cried.
Who could have done such a terrible thing?
Berry wept.
Someone has chewed through the stems of our sunflowers.
Flutter washed their wounds with fresh dew, and Dolly bandaged them all with soft blades of grass. The sunflowers slowly started to smile again. The friends all gathered in Balthazar's house to decide what to do next.
What are we going to do?
Berry sobbed.
Someone needs to stand guard at night. I'll go first,
said Dolly bravely. The little ladybird hid quietly behind the bush and kept a close eye on the sunflowers. She didn't have to wait for very long. A hamster soon appeared and started to chew at the stems of the sunflowers. Dolly jumped out from her hiding place and shouted, "Shoo!" This surprised the hamster and he ran away. He didn't come back again that night. Flutter guarded the sunflowers the next night, and then Balthazar, and then Stanley. Soon it was Berry's turn. The little snail hid quietly behind the bush and waited. He waited and waited until he eventually fell asleep. He wasn't even woken by the sound of the hamster chewing at the sunflower stems. Oh dear, I must have fallen asleep. I didn't guard the sunflowers, Berry sobbed when he saw the sadly sagging sunflowers the following morning. Berry fell asleep. He slept while the hamster chewed the stems again.
Why do you all look so sad? Asked Dr. Owl. Dolly told him what had happened to the sunflowers. I think you should talk to the hamster. Ask him not to hurt the sunflowers, Dr. Owl suggested.
There he is. He's asleep in the bush,
Berry whispered to the others. The noise woke the sleeping hamster. The hamster looked scared of the friends and the friends felt frightened of the hamster. There's no need to be scared of us. We just wanted to ask you not to chew our sunflowers.
But then what will I eat?
The hamster told them. We'll bring you plenty of apples and carrots to nibble on. Where do you live? The little snail asked.
I haven't got a house of my own,
The hamster said sadly.
You haven't got a house?
Balthazar repeated in surprise.
Then we'll build you one.
Dolly brought apples, Berry brought seeds, Flutter brought raisins, Balthazar brought dandelion leaves, and Stanley brought carrots.
My new house is really super.
The hamster said with a cheery smile.
And thank you so much for all the yummy food.
The hamster never chewed the sunflower stems again, and they smiled happily at Berry and Dolly and all their friends for the rest of the summer. Alfonzo's Fiddle. One autumn day, Alfonzo the cricket stood happily playing his fiddle in the mushroom field. The forest friends were all enjoying the lovely music. The little ants were playing football on the hill. But oh dear, the ball bounced away and knocked the fiddle clean out of Alfonzo's hands. Alfonzo shouted in horror, "My fiddle! My fiddle's broken!" And then he burst into tears. He was sobbing so loudly that everyone came to see what the fuss was all about. Alfonzo pointed angrily at the spotty ball. That ball is to blame, and those naughty ants! Where am I going to get a fiddle from now?" He picked his broken fiddle up, went into his house and slammed the door shut behind him. Alfonzo, come out, I'm sure we can help you," Berry pleaded. But Alfonzo didn't want to see anybody. His friends sat sadly in the mushroom field and didn't know what to do. Then Dolly had an idea. "I know! Let's make Alfonzo a new fiddle!" "Yes, let's make a new fiddle!" Flutter the butterfly nodded. "I know who can help us. We have to find Charlie the click beetle. He made Alfonzo's first fiddle." The band of friends set off and walked until they reached a blue house. They knocked on the door. A tiny, timid beetle popped his head out. He wore a blue hat and had beautiful dark blue wings. "Who are you?" he asked. Dolly told Charlie the whole story. "Oh, if that's your problem, I'm happy to help. Don't be sad. Alfonzo will be playing music on his new fiddle in no time at all." The click beetle gave everybody a job to do. Some collected wood for the body of the fiddle, while others gathered grass for the strings. Now he had everything he needed. Charlie got to work. He sawed, sanded, polished and waxed. And then, like a little miracle, the new fiddle was ready. "Can I try it?" Dolly asked. "No. It's Alfonzo's instrument," Flutter told her. "But I want to have my own musical instrument," Dolly sulked. Me too, the little ants shouted. "Quiet," said Charlie. "Why don't you all start an orchestra?
a great big orchestra, like a music band, and everybody could have their own instrument. That's a very good idea.
The first thing they made was a harp for Dolly. Stanley the stag beetle got a double bass, and Eddie the potato beetle had a cello. Berry made a trumpet out of a lily. Morris the maybug made a horn from a honeysuckle flower. The big spider used horse chestnuts and acorns for drums, whilst Zephyr and Leapy made cymbals out of pebbles. Charlie carved flutes from birch twigs for the ants. Flutter the butterfly got a lute, and Balthazar the bee got a zither. Bubble the baby beetle played a triangle. They all had a quick practice and then headed for Alfonzo's house. Alfonzo heard the music and looked out of his window to see where it was coming from. He was surprised by what he saw.
Please, Alfonzo,
The little ant began.
don't be mad at us for breaking your fiddle. We'd like you to have this new one as a present. Charlie made it.
Alfonzo began to play straight away, and the sound of his fiddle filled the forest once more.